Well, hi everybody. It's good to see you all. And like Ingrid said, I work closely with Jessica on a variety of issues. In particular, we are just hand in glove on wildfire, and we have frequent meetings that we work together on, and Jessica is a great colleague, and we just are, we're on the same team, whether it's pickleball or tennis or whatever sport you want to choose. Work very, very closely together, and I highly value her engagement. We have a lot of subject matter experts that work with us, particularly on wildfire issues, and she brings your issues to the table constantly. So thank you, Jessica. You're a great colleague. So today we're talking about ethical influence and persuasion. So we are surrounded by people that want to influence us. You look at your device, there's ads on it. You look at your laptop on the internet, wherever you are, there's always ads. There's people bombarding us with emails and in-mails. There's people at home, children, grandchildren, spouses that all want to influence. You walk out on the street, you see advertisements all over the place. And even at work, there are people that are trying to influence us in some way. It's all around us. What we're going to talk about today, ethical influence, is all based on science. Behavioral economics is the general term, but it's all based on science. So everything that you hear today is going to be the result of human observations in experiments. And today we're going to talk about two basic things. One is how we make decisions, and then the second is I'm going to run through the 7 principles of influence. Our decisions are based on instincts. They're based on basically our gut. And we have 3 elements of human decision making. One is the parts of our brain, our reptile brain, which is just reacting to things. If we hear a rustling in the grass, then it's natural to jump away from that, because if it's a snake, that's a good thing. We moved away from it. And if it's not, we're still safe. That's our reptile brain. And then we have our mammalian brain, our mammal brain, which is where we have our emotions and our behaviors, or social behaviors, it breaks and so on, how we get to know people. And then finally, our human brain, which is our logical brain, which is the one that thinks and separates us from the majority of all animals on the planet. And 95% of our reactions, of our decisions, are based on that reptile brain and that mammalian brain, which is kind of hard to think. But Daniel Kahneman, Nobel Prize-winning behavioral economist, wrote a book called Thinking Fast and Slow. And thinking fast, that's the gut part of our responses. And that's the 95% of our decision making. We base the majority of our decisions on gut, and 5% only on logic. Now, when you think about that, we live in an environment, let's say at work, where we have to make a lot of economic decisions. And we bring in data for those decisions. Ultimately, when we make a final decision, we base it on gut. And then that's just work. The rest of the time, we're focusing on, well, I've sort of seen this before. Kahneman has separated those into the system 1 and system 2 thinking. System 1 is that gut response. And basically, he says system 1 runs the show, and that's the one in the world of influence that we want to try to move and influence. And when we think about that rational decision making, it takes time to slow down and think about, like, should I do this or this? And I've got this data coming in. Like, we do it, it's just harder. And we know, we've seen this before. We can connect the dots. I can make a quick decision on this. That's our gut decision. So what I'm saying here is based on the work of Dr. Robert Cialdini, who wrote one of the best-selling business books in the world called Influence. And there's basically 3 groups of elements that we're going to talk about today, 7 general principles. The first group is relationships. We want to improve our relationships to have greater influence. And those involve the elements of reciprocity, liking, and unity. We'll talk about each of those. The second is uncertainty. We want to reduce uncertainty. When we're trying to influence others, they're going to say, I don't know about that. Well, we want to tell them, no, everything's okay. Let's fill in the blanks for your concerns. And the last part is motivation. We want to encourage people to act. We want to influence people to do something. We want to encourage them to act. Now, as Jessica said, I am a certified practitioner, a trainer with the Cialdini Institute, and this is just something I've done on the side along with being executive director. And it's a lot of fun. I really like doing this. It's part of my job to influence others, to work in the legislature, to advocate, so that's the natural fit. And ultimately, it comes down to this. You have to decide who's in charge, because you're either making a decision for yourself to influence others, or somebody else is influencing you. So you have to decide. Let's talk about those 7 principles. The first group is relationships. Reciprocity. Reciprocity is giving freely of something of value and expecting something in return. Now, not right away, but you are going to be generous and give things to others. And being a reciprocal relationship, something will come back to you. Let's talk about how to respond when somebody says, thank you. Yeah, thank you, I appreciate that, thank you very much. We generally say, you're welcome, or my pleasure. What's more effective in the world of influence is to create an expectation. Instead, say, oh, you're welcome. That's what teammates do for each other. You've just created a rule that like, oh yeah, that is what teammates do for each other. Yeah, when I have the opportunity, maybe I'll do that in return. Of course, you can use it for neighbors or friends too. I did say this to a friend a few weeks ago, and I thought, before I said it, I don't need to say this. But yeah, you're welcome. That's what friends do for each other. And it didn't sound as bad as manipulative as I thought it would. But even still, he said, yeah, that is what friends do for each other. Or you could just simply say, oh yeah, we're just teammates. Oh yeah, you're welcome. We're just teammates. Yeah. So either way, set that rule, because you're telling someone that it's okay to reciprocate in the future. Here's an experiment that occurred at a restaurant. Ingrid, you're shaking your head. You know this? Oh, awesome. Yeah, about how to get bigger tips. Okay. And the first experiment was giving a mint for every guest at the table when the server brings the check. And we've had this experience where we've gotten a check and there's mints associated with us, and usually there's a mint per guest. And that has an impact of improving the percentage of tips by 3.3%. That's good. If the server brings 2 mints per guest, that increases the tip that they're going to get to 14.1%. They get 14.1% bigger tips. If the server brings 1 mint per guest and then turns around and walks away and then comes back and sticks their hand in their pocket and says, you know, you good people look like you could use some additional mints, and gives them some additional mints, it increases their tips by 23% with that intentional gift. You know, we sometimes have sodas available, maybe at work. I see there's a soda machine over there, kind of similar. If we tell people, hey, just go take a soda, no gift. But if you say, what kind of soda would you like? We have Coke, we have Mountain Dew, we have Sprite, we even have some Tecate beer. Now you're giving a gift, and they will feel that reciprocity. So offer something with a name and then get that for them. We're often in negotiations. When you give a concession in negotiation, expect a concession in return, but be the one to offer us a concession, because you're doing that intentionally with the expectation to get something in return. We've all been in chocolate shops, whether we like it or not. We've been in chocolate or confectionery shops, and they're so eager to give a free gift. Well, there's a reason why. It's because sales increase by anywhere from 25% to 150%, and it depends on the cost of the chocolate, how hungry you are, whatever, where you are, whether if you're traveling, whether it's Valentine's Day, but you always get more sales by giving away free chocolate at a chocolate shop. It works. And these are some ideas. They don't have to be physical. They can be ideas as well. These are just some, and Jessica will give you a copy of the slides, but these are, you can give compliments. You can listen to somebody. That is a gift that you can give. You can give a gift of your time. We give out a lot of advice, like public safety advice around Christmas, example, for how to have a safe Christmas with your Christmas lights. That's good. We want to do that, and we want to continue to do that at the fairs that we go to and the tables that we have, giving out advice to people about how to save energy, whatever it might be. Well, really, it's how to lower your costs. That's all that has a return to us, and the return may be they just like us more. But nevertheless, there is a positive value for doing those activities. Now, this is just a pet peeve of mine. If somebody does something nice and they say thank you, don't say no problem, okay? Say you're welcome, say my pleasure, and then say that's what teammates do for each other. If you want to go a step further, if you really want to test this out, you could like, oh, that's what teammates do for each other, right? And get them to say, oh yeah, of course, absolutely, yeah. Now they're agreeing with you. Yeah, they're saying it out loud. All right, let's talk about liking. The more people like us, the more yeses we hear. So generally, we give favors to people that we like. And when we're positive, it's attractive. So liking is a good thing. When we're dealing with a salesperson, they're trying to do something to get us to like them. We notice that. And obviously, negativity repels people. So we want to try to be positive. And that also includes our positive brand. So there's a variety of ways that we can improve the way our organizations look to get more people to like us. Because customers understand, they get that feeling when we're trying to be a positive organization. Some of the ways that this happens: looking the part, looking professionally, having a nice clothes, just clean and neat clothes, having a logoed shirt. Those are elements that give us that professional look toward liking. Now, when it comes to liking, we tend to think that I'm developing a relationship with this person, I'm going to tell them about me, and that hopefully will impress them, and then they will like me. That's the exact opposite of what we want to do. When we want people to like us, the most important thing that we can do is try to like them. Try to like them. Ask them questions. Find out about their life, their journey, how they got here, what they do in their jobs. Whatever it is, ask them questions about what's going on in their world, and they will pick up on your vibe. They'll say, oh, this person is trying to find out about me. I kind of like them. Yeah. We don't have to impress people to get them to like us. We just have to reach out to them and ask them about themselves, and they will like us. Smiling research. Researchers made 4 shampoos. At the bottom, one with a smile. Everything the same about the shampoo. One with a flat line, one with no line, and then one with a little frowny line. And the sales of those 4 on the shelf at different stores or at different times was the one with the smile on it sold the most, the one with the neutral line was second, and the one with the frown sold the least. Just natural look of the object on the shelf. And companies use smiles in their logos all over the place. Yeah, they know this. They know this research. So just smiling alone moves people in the direction toward liking you. So try to like them first, and smile. Sounds basic, when we know what to do, now we can do them. Think about your website. Think about your website, what you have on that website. A principal way to get people to like you, your members to like you, is to put a welcome message on the front of the website. Just a simple welcome message. This is the welcome message from the Cialdini Institute. It's signed by Dr. Robert Cialdini. You don't have to do that. But you can do something simple. This is my speaking website, and I just put a note there. There's actually no circle around it on the website, but it just says welcome, click for a message from Barry, and then there's a little video that says, hi, welcome. And that's all you have to do. On your website, go to your IT person, say, look at this presentation, let's have a welcome message on our website. Unity. How many folks here are Giants fans or Niners fans? Okay, we have a few. Okay, now everybody who just raised their hands, if we put you off in a tailgating corner, you would all immediately just like each other. You would all be like, yeah, well, actually not so good yesterday, but yeah, we like each other. And there are other teams here. Let's see, there's folks from other parts of the country. Well, we won't run through everything. Never, and we especially won't mention Kansas City. Who is from Kansas City? Yeah, thumbs up, thanks a lot, yeah. Nevertheless, you are in a perfect position to create unity. You're already doing this. This is what the cooperative movement is all about, is unity. And the more you do that, the greater the effectiveness that you have as cooperatives. We like people who are on the same team, so to speak. And it could be even from the same area, same county, same state. If we're traveling somewhere else, we meet somebody from our area, we always just want to talk with them about that. The same neighborhood, same religion, the same school job, politics, race, we can't help it. All these things are elements of liking. And we just had the Republican National Convention, all those people from all different walks of life in one place, but from across the country, all had one unifying rationale for being there. And they all liked each other. The same is true of the Democratic Convention. They all liked each other. It's also valuable to work together to fight something. So unity works together to do things positively, but also, well, I wouldn't say work positively, but when we need people to work together to fight something like the Lower Snake River dams, we can rely on that unity to do that as well. So it's important to dialogue with our community, with our members, constantly reminding them that they are members, that they're part of our community. They're not newsletter readers, they're members. And Apple even does this activity to bring people together to Apple. If you buy an Apple product, you can get your name engraved on the back of it, or you can get a picture engraved on the back of it. This little, at the bottom there's a picture of the Eiffel Tower. And you can choose that. You can have your name on the back. So, and you are co-creating with Apple. Like, how do you do anything with Apple to like them? I don't, well, that's one thing that they've identified is when we work together to create something, we like each other better. We are united together. So liking is that we say yes to people that are similar to us. Unity is that we say yes to people who belong to us, to belong to the same group. And you're in perfect position to take advantage of that unity. Now let's talk about that second group, uncertainty. The first one, authority. And again, we're in perfect position to talk about authority because we are subject matter experts in our community who talk about energy and electricity and so many things that we do, and in some cases, telecommunications. So we follow people who we believe are in charge. And it's okay to tell people that we're in charge. Doctors wear white lab coats, police officers wear vests and uniforms, and we too can wear a uniform. When we wear a logo, that tells people we are from the cooperative and we are somebody who's in charge, somebody to be believed. On one of those first slides, I put up that crest there that I'm a certified practitioner. That's the reason why, is to tell you at the beginning of this presentation that I'm an authority. And what you're hearing comes from research, so believe me. 9 out of 10 doctors say use this toothpaste. I'm sorry, dentists say, use this toothpaste. Or veterinarians say, use this toothpaste. Hey, if you have a dog, you're supposed to brush their teeth, so maybe not with Sensodyne. Let me tell you about the jaywalking study. Researchers had somebody dressed very nicely, suit, tie, vest, jaywalking in the middle of the street 50 times during a day to see how many people followed them. And then they had that same person dress in a raggedy t-shirt, torn jeans, and cross the street 50 times. 3.5 times, 350%, 3.5 times more people followed the person in the suit than did the person who was wearing the raggedy t-shirt and jeans. We look to people who are dressed nicely, dressed appropriately as authorities. So it's important to do that. If you want to ask for feedback, we sometimes ask people, hey, can you give me some feedback on that? Don't do that. Ask for advice. When you ask for feedback, you get a critic. When you ask for advice, you get a teammate. You get somebody who's with you on the same team. Ask for their advice, and now they want to help you improve. Feedback is they want to take you down. Oh yeah, everything's fine, but let me tell you about this one really small thing that I'm going to make a big deal out of. Well, advice is saying, yeah, let me help you to make you better. Other ways you can say it is, are you willing to help me? Give me your opinion. So those are positive ways to ask for people's advice. We introduce people all the time. We introduce our colleagues at breaks. We introduce our colleagues by referring people from the community to other staff members. So we will say, hey, it'll be good to talk to our Director of Energy Services or Director of Delivery or Substations to help answer that question. When we do that, we want to introduce them properly. At a real estate agency, they wanted to increase the number of sales in their rental department. And calls would come in when they placed ads about apartments to the receptionist. And the receptionist would say, let me introduce you to Gary. Gary is our expert in rental properties in that part of town. I'll connect you to him now. The person on the phone is thinking, oh, well, I'm going to be talking to an expert. This is great. And sales on those rental properties increased by 15%. So when we have the opportunity to introduce a colleague to somebody in our community or somebody at a conference, we want to tell them, yeah, Ginger is our Director of Delivery or Director of Energy Services and is our expert. Yeah, talk to her. So introduce somebody, give them authority, and they'll be thought of higher by the person that you're introducing them to. The last here in uncertainty is social proof. When we're not sure what to do, we look to others. And we're bombarded by this all the time. Client testimonials, and we go to buy things like Airbnbs, and we're always looking for the number of stars and what people say about that apartment or condo or property or house. We want to hear from others. When we're buying on Amazon, we're looking to see what other people's experience have been with that product. And yeah, so you see the stars, you see the ratings of the products. I recently went online to just get some, airfare, and it always asks you at the end of that, do you want to buy insurance, cancellation insurance? And it said, yeah, highly recommended. And I'm like, okay, well, it's highly recommended. And then at the bottom it said 33,000 people bought this in the past 7 days. Like, geez, I don't know if I want to spend the extra $20. Well, I did stub my toe. Maybe I won't be able to fly. Who knows? COVID's going around again. I don't know. But that's what they do to give you that social proof that others are doing it. And we can use it too. We can use it ourselves when we're talking about, just for example, rebates and energy services. People want to know when they're buying products, well, what are other members doing in our community? They want that information. So get that information and tell them, because We like to know at least what the crowd is doing to help us make that decision. This is an experiment that was done with energy conservation. And there were 4 tests that were done to help people decide what to do with, to help lower their energy use. And these are messages that will be offered to the community. And which one should the utility use? The first one is conserving energy helps the environment. Okay, a good message. We would think everyone should relate to that. Let's save the environment together. Conserving energy helps future generations. So it's going to help my children and my grandchildren. Conserving energy saves money. Well, that's good for my bottom line. That's a pretty good message. And then the last one, your neighbors are already conserving energy. And we might expect that people would respond to the financial one. That's what I would expect. But that's not what was. They asked a control group, what do you think people would respond to? And they said that the environmental message would be the most popular one. And then the generational messages about the benefit to society and the benefit to our children and grandchildren. And the save whatever our neighbors are doing, no, not important. But in reality, what our neighbors was doing was the most important one. Like, wait a minute, my neighbors are saving more energy than me? We hardly used any energy. I think we can do better. They gamify it. That's the one that works. And there's a service out there that many utilities use where they will quarterly send a letter out to households and they'll compare green, yellow, red, how you're doing compared to your neighbors. And the last part, motivation. How do we get people to act? The first one is through consistency. And consistency is we are part of organizations, and we generally tend to agree with the principles of those organizations. We make decisions that are consistent with those organizations. The Boy Scouts sell popcorn once a year. The Girl Scouts have cookies, the Boy Scouts sell popcorn. And they were outside a supermarket selling popcorn. And they were using this message. When people walked up, would you like to buy some popcorn to help the Boy Scouts? And their sales generally were 1 in 7 shoppers would stop and buy popcorn. They flipped around the message to be, do you support the Boy Scouts? These are people just walking up. Do you support the Boy Scouts? And people would say, yeah. Like, would you like to buy some popcorn? Well, now they've already committed to supporting the Boy Scouts, and now they're faced with the decision, do I want to support with money by buying some popcorn? And they were already on record doing it. Sales increased by 3.5 times. A restaurant in Chicago, Gordon Sinclair's restaurant, was having trouble with people that were just not showing up after making a reservation. And they wanted to stop that. They changed just a couple of words when they talked to people and making a reservation to fix that. They had a 30% no-show rate, which they didn't like. So what they did is what they were saying to people is, they're making a reservation, and please call us if you have to cancel your reservation. They flipped that around to say, will you please call us if you have to cancel your reservation? And then get a reply. Well, yes, I will. And the number of cancellations, the number of no-shows dropped significantly. How can we use that at work? Well, we're asking people all the time, get this done by Friday, get that done by Friday, get that done by Friday, get that done. Right. We're doing that all the time. Instead, ask people a question. Can you get this done by Friday? Will you get this done by Friday? And then get an answer. And then they will feel compelled to get that done by Friday because they've made the statement. They're being consistent, and they will do everything they can to get it done by Friday because they promised you that they'll get it done by Friday. And then related to this is charitable giving. A lot of us are involved in charities in our communities, and this is just a little element of consistency that is very effective in getting people to commit. You can get a significant increase by getting people to commit. Say to people, we'd love for you to invest in the work of our charity, and it's your decision. By reminding them that this decision is theirs, they're making that commitment. They're saying, yeah, it is my decision, and I'm going to decide to invest or to make a donation to your charity. So add that when you're making the pitch for charities, for people to contribute to charity. We know it's your decision. We would love for you to contribute. Just remind them of that. They're in charge, and then they will commit to doing it. Scarcity, our last one. This is the things we see all the time when there are sales. Order now, it's limited time, limited stock, we're about to run out. These are exclusive offers. And again, we see these frequently. This hotel room has been booked 10 times in the last 24 hours. Like, oh no, I better act fast. It's in high demand. I mean, who knows if it is or it isn't. It's at this price, and now you're going to change the price by $1, or who knows what they do. They're always playing games with us. One room left at this price. Yeah. The trick on scarcity is sometimes we do have a limited number, particularly with things like rebates. We have a budget for rebates. We have so many rebates we can give out in a year, and that's good information to people to have to make a decision. Because if it's August or September and we're going to run out of our budget, we're not going to have more budget until January 1. So we want to help people understand that. What's important there is to give people facts and not to mislead them. We could use what Booking.com does or other sites do to try to get us to respond to this false scarcity. We don't want to do that. We want to be ethical in the scarcity that we have. So telling somebody this is some information about our budget is fine to do, is good to do. That can help motivate them. So to summarize, to influence folks, we want to improve our relationships. We want to improve that through reciprocity. Well, we'll talk about the summary in a second. We want to reduce their uncertainty by giving them more information and share them our authority, and we want to motivate them to act. And the way we do that with reciprocity is we're generous. We offer a gift and expect something in return. And remember, we can say, well, that's just what teammates do for each other. We want to improve liking by liking someone else first. And smile. Smile. That gets people to like us. And remember, look at your website. Put that welcome message on your website. And the last part, in unity, when we're on the same team, let's tell people we're on the same team because we share a same goal. We have authority. And the right way to use authority is to show people. Dress appropriately, wear a logoed shirt, and help our community. Seek advice and not feedback. Ask for people's advice. And when we're introducing our colleagues, which we do all the time, introduce them as experts, which elevates them in the eyes of the people we're introducing them to. Social proof, the crowd, people want to know what the crowd is doing. So let them know what other people are doing. When it comes to consistency, ask people, can you get this done by Friday? And then get a response. Make them be consistent with what you're asking. If you're involved in a charity, remember to add that line. Remember, it's your decision, and you'll have more people investing in your charity. And then when it comes to scarcity, this is a limited offer, but keep it real. Make sure it's based on facts. And ultimately, it all comes down to you taking charge of your own decisions. You have that opportunity to do so. Now go out and make those decisions yourself intentionally. So this is my contact information. I'm going to send to Jessica a summary of, just a one-pager of everything you've seen. The slides may be too much, but you'll have them all on one page so that you can refer to it. And with that, thank you very much.